Vanquish, God Hard walkthrough, no deaths, and maximum time bonus. This is 1.5, and it's called Trust. Immediately boost forward and get to this piece of cover, and then begin using the cover trick to get rid of these first few Gorgies. Once you've killed them and you can see on the map there's none left, jump up to the top of this structure and then melee this guy. This guy will always try to attack you, and if he does it too prematurely, you'll get iframes to go through it. If he doesn't, for whatever reason, if you start charging the shotgun's melee attack, he will not hit you because you're granted this kind of weird pseudo-invincibility when you charge a melee attack. I'll talk about that later. Immediately dash and do a boost kick into the armoured cover machine thing, and then get rid of the two buddies with it with the shotgun. From this point onwards, we're going to push onwards, and this is where things get a little tricky. So on the PC, which is what you're watching, this is the PC version of the game at 144Hz. Weird things happen in this game. Attacks that would normally do incredible damage on the console don't do as much damage. Attacks that do less damage on the console do incredible damage on PC. And then there are these moments where the AI just doesn't simply work as well as it should. There are these weird scripting moments. All we're going to do in this particular sequence, and I do like this one, is we're going to be getting rid of the enemies, we're going to be using the cover, and we're going to be shooting the snipers on the top and getting rid of the turret guy. At this moment in time, my aim was not great, because I'm still fighting with the dead zones on my analogues. They're not the finest for this particular game, but they did me a decent service. This is not played on mouse and keyboard, if you're wondering. You can obviously tell my aim's not good enough. But once you go over here, it's going to trigger the first of this sequence. So pick up the lock-on launcher, and then we're going to go to the top of here, and we're going to start killing things with both the lock-on launcher and the turret. And this is where things can get weird, and they can negatively affect the score. So in this particular sequence, you just kind of have to shoot some dudes, and it's going to eventually trigger a sequence. But there are times when it doesn't do it right. There are times when it does it perfectly, there are times when it doesn't, and I don't really know what the problem is with this. There are just weird scripting moments, weird AI pathing moments, and there's two sequences here which I wish didn't exist, but they do, where we're just kind of waiting for Burns to talk and the soldiers to do things and what have you, and you're just kind of killing as much of the things as you can. And then eventually, after you've killed enough and the game scripts it correctly, you can get on with the next moment, but you're kind of at the mercy of variables you don't control. And it happens a few times, and as I mentioned, maybe 70% of the time it's perfectly fine, but if you're doing these levels as many times as I did, like I did this level about 15 times, it took ages to get the score. I really noticed that it should have triggered by now and it didn't, and I didn't know why. So I come down here to check what's in the RNG boxes of Doom, and then I try and swap out some weapons because I run out of lock-on laser, and I'm all in my head right now. I'm just thinking, this should have ended. There's no reason for this to be happening for this long. It's one of those weird moments. I've killed more than enough enemies to trigger the next part, but it wasn't triggering. So thankfully, it happens then. So we can now hit the turret. From the turret, you want to get rid of the Romanov, and then you want to try and use the bullets on the rest of the Gorgies. If you hit the Gorgies in the head, I think with 2 bullets, it will be a dismemberment and a kill. But doing that while they're moving is kind of tricky. So try and make it go as far as you can, because if you don't trigger the next sequence by the end of this clip of this turret, you're going to have to do some shooting. And whenever you do shooting in this game, you are vulnerable. That right then was me thinking a grenade was coming our way. I don't know who designed the grenades in this game, but I really don't like that human being. The standard Gorgies throw 1 grenade, and they do it all the time. They just spam grenades like idiots. The gold Gorgies throw 3, and they spam them the same. So you can have moments where there's more grenades than World at War on Veteran, and it just does not complement the game at all. Because the grenade indicator on this game is not the best, so you can run onto explosions you didn't even know were there, and there's no option to throw grenades back, even though your allies can. And this is a game where Sam does high-speed, crazy antics. Can you imagine if he had some kind of boost soccer kick to kick the grenades away? How cool would that be? But it doesn't exist, so instead you just take a bunch of deaths to grenades that you really shouldn't have died to. So get ready for that, guys, because it's very frustrating. Couple of words of warning on this particular sequence. We're pushing down here shooting turrets. My guns and my aim are not quite there yet. I mean, the guns are fine, but the heavy machine gun at this range is tricky, and the standard assault rifle needs a good steady hand, and my hand is just not there. So shooting these moments can kind of take longer than you want, so I'm going to be pushing up aggressively to try and get a better shot to make my guns work at a better range, because mid-range is kind of the place where I think this gun really thrives, and so does the damage, if you're hitting them in the head, because head shots do more damage, it kills them quicker, it's good design, right? Well, if you skip past all these enemies, and you get to the end, you'd think you'd spawn the tank and you could save a massive bunch of time here. Doesn't work. You have to clear this area out. If you do not hear Burns say all clear, he will not move forward and you'll never trigger the tank. The tank is needed to be triggered to end the mission. And this is where it's going to get interesting. So if you don't have 3 grenades, this gets tough. Normally I throw 2 grenades, wait, and then throw 1 grenade further and behind the tank. I do this in the hopes of killing the first batch of Gorgies and killing that one Gorgie that always gets at the back of this tank. On this particular run, I don't get him, so you're going to watch a very passive attack on this dude. Normally, if we'd have killed him, I have 3 of my EMP grenades, I would have thrown a cigarette, got behind him, shoot him in the back, stun him with a grenade, shotgun, grenade, shotgun, grenade, shotgun, dead. But I can't do that, so instead, I'm going to shoot his core as much as I can at a distance, and you'll notice the red Gorg is running around causing havoc, being a dickhead, and I'm kind of worried now because I'm thinking I'm going to miss my time limit, so I'm going to do something reckless. I'm going to ignore him after I throw a cigarette, and then I'm going to get rid of the tank. And then the moment the tank is done, I'm going to spin around and get rid of him, who was just over there. And thankfully, he was getting stunned in the EMP, and he was stunned by the cigarette anyway, and we were able to do that really quickly, and we got 559, no death, 5,000 bonus. But that was one of those where I got to the tank so many times and stuff just didn't work. Stuff went wrong, stuff messed up, I got instantly murdered by lasers and bullets, and I'm telling you folks, if you've never tried this, you really don't see just how hard this shit is. And if I can somehow help your time be easier and get you through that, then that's just gravy. Because this is a fantastic game, but it is god hard.